Everybody hates midnight shift. I know I did when I first started working it about 18 years ago. When I started off on the job as a cop, we were working rotating shifts, and we'd rotate backwards. And so every third month I was on midnights. And I hated it. I especially hated it when I was in training, and I never forgot that feeling. Today on Free Field Training, we're going to talk a little bit about how you can learn to love midnight shift. It's not my preferred shift, and I've been assigned to it permanently coming on my 18th year on the job. And I've spent about 6 months on permanent midnights. And all of the things that taught me how to love midnights when I was rotating have really come into their own working permanent mids. So if you're just coming onto a job, whether that's being a nurse or a cop or a security guard or a tow truck driver or a repossessor or a janitor or whatever you're doing that you have to do at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you find this video, comes across your feed some way, I hope the things that I talk about help you here. A lot of this I've gotten from other people on the job, and in ancillary jobs, they've kind of given me suggestions, and I've implemented some of them, not implemented others, and I've come to really love midnight shift, which is something most people who are stuck working at it at their job can't really say. Most people end up hating it, and at least they start off hating it because it's unusual to our circadian rhythm. We're not used to being up when the sun is not outside. And some of it has just to do with light and how our brains work. We're going to get onto that a little further into the video. So before I get too far into this video, I have to mention our sponsors for the videos, Officer Privacy. Officer Privacy, I'm going to put a little QR code right there and a link down below. They offer a service where for a fee, they take all of your extra information off of the internet. So if you Google up my full legal name, most of the things that would come up, all those people search websites and real estate websites and billing websites and stuff that tell people where you live and where all your family members live and who's related to you, they take a lot of that stuff off of the internet. They just did a video that you can get from their website, and I'll put a link to that as well down below, which talks about how you are leaking information out into the world that allows people to track you down. If you're working midnight shift, there's a good likelihood you're pissing people off, regardless of what profession you're in, and Officer Privacy is something you should look into. I liked it so much I got it for my wife. The other one is Safe Life Defense. Safe Life Defense is really what allows many of these educational videos to happen. They sell body armor and pouches and rifle plates and gloves and all sorts of stuff, and they're constantly expanding their line. There's going to be a link and a coupon code for them that saves you 10% down below. So go peruse their website. I especially like their bundle packages because for many professions, you kind of get into body armor and you don't know what you're looking at, and they give you bundles which allow you to go, oh, well, all that stuff works together and makes sense, instead of trying to piecemeal things together when you don't completely understand how all of the different components work. So obviously, if we're working midnight shift, everybody knows about caffeine. Most people that work midnights have pretty severe caffeine problems. I call it an addiction. But really, there's a deeper usage of caffeine. For most of us, what we should be using caffeine for is to kind of get going in the day. And if we're using it as a run to keep us awake throughout our entire day, we're probably doing lots of other things wrong. I'm guilty of it. You're probably guilty of it. Most people who work midnights are guilty of it at one point or another. But if we're drinking caffeine all the way till the drive home, and then we're going home and going to bed, or we're drinking caffeine all the way until it's time to go to bed so that we can stay up, that's going to cause problems. It's going to cause problems with our sleep, and it's going to cause problems with our indigestion, and it's going to cause, especially as we get older like me, I'm starting to get some gray hairs, but it's definitely going to cause some problems with your budget because most of our caffeine sources are becoming more and more expensive. And if you work midnights, I'm sure you've noticed the exponential price increase of energy drinks and just off-the-shelf coffee recently. And even those of us that are in professions where most of the time we can get a free cup of coffee, it helps us to find other coping mechanisms other than just stimulants to keep us going. So when it comes to caffeine, we want to kind of limit our intake. Most doctors tell you somewhere between 300 and 600 milligrams of caffeine a day, which is a lot of caffeine. You're talking like 6 cups of coffee in a day. I know some people, myself included in some points in my life, would say 6 cups of coffee isn't that much, or 2 energy drinks, the high-end energy drinks isn't that much, but that's a lot of caffeine, and you can cause long-term health issues, especially with your heart, using that much stimulants every single day. Remember, it's not a recreation recreational thing we're doing, if we're using it just to continue going, that can cause us health issues. We definitely, at the very least, want to shut it down at least 4 to 6 hours before it's time to go to bed. So if you're on a schedule, and we'll talk about scheduling here in a minute, if you're on a schedule where you're going to bed as soon as you get home from work, you don't want to be drinking coffee your entire shift while you're at work. If you're getting up at 9 o'clock at night, getting dressed, going in for midnights, and then staying up during the day, you are not going to want to drink coffee your entire shift and then most of the morning and go to bed at 11 a.m., and then have just gotten done finishing a cup of coffee at 10 a.m. You've got to give your body some buffer. Caffeine has a half-life, I think it's like 4 or 6 hours. You have to ask your doctor about the intricacies of it, but I will tell you this from real hard-earned experiences, that if you drink all coffee all the way till the end of the day, to right before you're starting to go to sleep, you'll have very poor sleep, and poor sleep leads to poor performance at night. Those of us who are chasing idiots around at 3 o'clock in the morning, or going to shootings at bars, or getting involved with pursuits, or doing anything else that's dangerous, working, just operating heavy machinery at 3 a.m., can realize what having bad sleep is just about as bad as having no sleep. So you want to cut that bad sleep down, and it's one of those things that makes it harder for us to get into a solid schedule. Another thing people don't realize is if you're keeping that schedule and you're not keeping it all the time, that can cause you really big problems. Everybody I know that absolutely hates midnight shifts and is stuck on them tries to switch over to a day shift on their day off. Now, whether this is for childcare or convenience, or because you've got a social life that involves doing things earlier in the day or in the morning, it doesn't matter. That's going to kill you. It will wear you down so fast. It's unbelievable. When I first had kids, my wife and I first had kids, that was a huge problem for me. Was there'd be something, I got to take the kid to, the first day of kindergarten in the mornings. All right, well, I'm going to get off of work at 6, and then the first day of kindergarten is until 8, and then I'm going to be up till 9 till we get home, maybe shower and change, get to sleep by 10, and then 8 hours later, I'm going to be waking up, but I will have switched over from my schedule because I used to come home at 6, go to sleep at 7. Now I'm up 3 extra hours, but then I have things to do that afternoon, and so I'm losing those 3 hours of sleep. Because nobody, when you're on midnights, understands that you need 8 hours in the middle of the day to sleep. They think, well, you're on midnights, it means you've got all day to do everything, and then you just go to work at night. And they don't realize that your sleep requirements are the same. So on your days off, especially if you're going to be on a schedule where you're working midnights, like you're waking up, having a little bit of day with your family or friends or whatever you do, and then going in for midnights, coming home and going to sleep, you want to keep that schedule even on your days off to a certain extent. So it's okay to go to bed early. A normal person might head off to bed early. You might normally wake up at 8 a.m. to go to work, and you might go to bed early. Maybe, I'm tired, 9 p.m., I'm going to sleep, I'm going to get a good 10, 11, 12 hours sleep tonight. It's okay to go to bed early on your day off. But if you're normally not getting to bed till 6 or 7 a.m. or 8 a.m., you don't want to go to bed at 10 p.m. and then be up at 7 a.m. And now you've gotten yourself right back into a day schedule, which is real easy to do. Once the sun hits your eyes, you're staying awake. And then the next night, now you're staying up 24 hours straight. Now, you stay up 24 hours straight, and you're right at the cusp of being as impaired as someone who's legally intoxicated in most states. There's plenty of studies on that. I'm not to dive too deep in here. I'll put links down below in the description for people who want to look more into all these things. But trust me, you do not want to be up past 24 hours not driving around or even driving home. Remember, your car is heavy machinery. You don't want to be driving it so tired that you're essentially intoxicated. On those days off, get hobbies that you can do in the middle of the night. Watch old 80s action movies if that's your bag. Play video games. You'd be surprised, the online video game scene, if you want to stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning playing video games every day, you will meet new friends playing video games. My kid has taught me that. I play War Thunder on his account literally all night on my days off if I don't have something else going on. You can make content, right? Like if you've got an Instagram or a Facebook or a YouTube, that's part of what I do here. That's why I'm on permanent midnights, is it allows me to make content on the internet in the middle of the night when the house is quiet, the dog's not pissing all over the floor. Right, that was a problem right before my video now. I don't have all the distractions in the middle of the night, and this allows me to do that. But it also gives me something to do on those days off. And working out, all of us could use a little bit of help with the battle of the bulge or the battle of bulging up. Go work out on your days off. Get a 24-hour gym membership. They're in most places. I have a membership to like my local Anytime Fitnesses. They're all over the place in the Chicagoland area. If you can't do that, if you live close enough to work, a lot of police departments, fire departments, places like that, they have a gym in the basement. Go check out the available gym. I even know guys that live way out in the boonies. Department doesn't have an available gym. There's no 24-hour gyms. They make a deal with the desk clerks at the local hotel to be able to come in and work out at the hotel after hours in the middle of the night. And you'd be surprised what some free donuts and some coffee will do for the other person that has to work midnights when you want to come in and use their gym facility. So those are some ideas for you, some hobbies and things you can do in the middle of the night. And most of them, other than the video games and the 80s action movies, are fairly constructive. So you can better yourself while being on midnights because you've got those extra hours of solitude. And solitude is one of the best things about working midnight shift. Dealing with the sun. One, you're not going to get a lot of sunlight. And so I'm no doctor, but I did start feeling a lot better when I started taking a vitamin D tablet every day. The recommendations for how much to take go back and forth over the years. I take whatever they say the normal dose is. Well, the one little capsule every day of vitamin D. And it makes me feel a lot better. In fact, when I don't take it, my wife starts complaining that I'm grumpy. So if you're on midnights and you haven't been doing that and you feel like crap on your days off and you don't feel motivated to do anything, take some vitamin D. It's a great start. It might be a serious anxiety disorder. You can always go check with your doctor and talk with them about your issue, but maybe you want to just try taking some vitamin D. Maybe you just haven't seen the sun in 4 months, and that might be why you're having problems. So it's worth a shot for most people. One thing that's helped me substantially is the earlier you can shift your night to get home from work. So like a lot of people, when they work midnight shift, they have a little bit of flexibility in their hours. You can kind of be the earlier person to come in and the earlier person out. I love that on midnights. I work from 10 to 6 most nights. So if I'm working, I can go home right as the sun's coming up instead of an hour later when the sun's pretty high in the sky and I'm getting sun in my eyes through most of the drive home. That sunlight in your eyes when you're getting ready to try to go to sleep makes it harder because our brains are hardwired to think light means stay up, dark means go to bed. So if you don't now, get a pair of sunglasses, put them in your car, wear your sunglasses on your ride home. As soon as that sun starts coming up, put sunglasses on, at least cut that glare a little bit. If you have to come home late, it helps to have brazing glasses in the car. Brazing glasses, you can still kind of see through them. You can see through them pretty good for driving home, or you get the old lady, or like the medical grade sunglasses that are super dark for people that have like real big vision problems. But get a darker pair of sunglasses or brazing glasses to drive around. If you're coming home, you're going to come home at 9, 10, 8 o'clock in the morning when it's really, really bright outside. Blackout curtains for your room, noise machine, a fan. If you've got kids or a wife or mother-in-law or whoever else lives in your house and they're going to be making noise all day, anything you can do that cut that noise and cut the light coming to your bedroom is a plus. I have blackout curtains. My last house, I used to take a black foam board, and cut it out to the shape of the windows and pop them in to completely darken the room. So that way my room is as dark as possible. And if I can't make it quiet, I'm going to blot out the noise with a noise machine and a fan. And I have both. I have the thunderstorm noise machine going and the fan going. Best sleep ever. And normally I can get between 6 and 8 hours of sleep, depending on, when I cut the caffeine out during the day and how scheduled I am with my sleep time. And I try to keep my sleep time pretty close to the same every day. If you're working midnights and you are out in the world, the less stress that you have on yourself, the better. We get enough stress. Anybody that's doing anything at 3 o'clock in the morning, if you're an EMT at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're going to be out dealing with stressful stuff. Because like I tell everybody, when you work midnights, you see another person, you don't have to wonder if that person's dangerous. They are. Otherwise, they wouldn't be out at 3 o'clock in the morning. And whether they're a danger to you or not is still up in the air. But, harmless people aren't out at 3 o'clock in the morning. Most of them have a little bit of something going on where you have to be careful about interacting with those people, even if it's just the janitor coming home who's been up for 40 hours scrubbing floors to make extra money for his family, and now he's driving home at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So part of that is having the proper equipment for dealing with what you're going to deal with on midnight shifts. Flashlights. extra flashlights. If you deal with a job where you need one flashlight, you need two if you're on midnights. You might even need three. If you're a cop or security guard, a fireman or something, EMT, and you can have a third flashlight in your duty bag, go for it. But you want at least two on yourself. Then spare batteries, spare chargers, reflective vests. If you're going to be out on a roadway, you're working construction at 3 o'clock in the morning, reflective vest, two flashlights in your pocket, because light management is going to be a big thing for you. The little guardian angel devices. Let me see if I got one that's running up here. There you go. The little guardian angel flashy devices, right? That you can put up on your shoulder to give more visibility even when cars don't have their headlights on and you're walking on the side of the road. They can still see that you're there even though they're not getting the reflection back. We've looked at the reflective material before on the channel, but it's a huge part of it. Even if you don't have money for any of that stuff and all you got is a flashlight and you're out on the side of the road, point your flashlight at the ground or get a pouch that points it at the ground so that people can see, oh, there's a light on the ground and there's feet in it. Right? And they get some idea, oh, there's a person there. Maybe they'll stay away from that person that's got the light shining at their feet on the ground. Speaking of light, a watch with a backlight on it. Now, I love watches. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that. I love Lume, but Lume isn't going to cut it. You need a watch that has a backlight if you're working midnights. Especially if you're going to be outside, because the Lume on your watch is not going to keep till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. It'll get you, the sun goes down at 8 p.m. in the wintertime, at least where I'm at. And, by 1 o'clock in the morning, that Lume's gone. You're not seeing anything on that watch, let alone having to go look for the date or day of the week or whatever it is on the watch. Get a digital watch with a backlight or an analog watch that has a light up front and Lume, and that way you're going to be able to see what time it is. It's one less stressor in your life when you're trying to deal with whatever it is you're dealing with in your line of work. In my line of work, a watch is absolutely mandatory, and for midnights, a backlight, absolutely mandatory. People that try to get by without it, they don't have a very good time. And the smart watches are even worse because they light up all the time and they tend to die over the course of a shift because you're constantly using your watch far more than you would during the day. Staying healthy on a midnight shift is extremely difficult because nothing that is open when you're working midnights is something that you want to make a habit of eating. Nothing. Stores are getting a little better. Your pharmacies and gas stations and stuff, sometimes they have fruit, but fruit as a steady part of your diet isn't a whole lot better than just eating candy. It's a little more filling, but it's just sugar. Salted meats, your roller dogs at the truck stop or gas station, or your beef jerky or whatever. It's great occasionally for a road trip or whatever, but you don't want to make a steady diet out of that. So I always recommend that people get a lunch bag and pack their lunch. I get salads from Aldi, Walmart, Meijer, Jewel. All of them have like pre-made salads. Aldi has the best price on them for right now. They're like $2.75. You can get a salad for $2.75. So, I pop a salad into my lunch bag and an energy drink and a protein shake and a banana and some extra water and some ice packs. And now I've got relatively healthy food, depending on how you look at it, to get me through my workday instead of going to McDonald's or Taco Bell or White Castle or buying things from the gas station or eating a whole box of Little Debbie's, which is the other options that you have for $3 in the middle of the night. That also tends to be cheaper by the time you add all those things up. The energy drink is under $3, the protein shake is under $2, and if I can get the salad for under $3, you're only talking $7, $8, and you're not even going to be able to go to McDonald's for $7 or $8 these days. You have to strategically work on your days off along with strategically working your schedule. Now, your schedule is important when you sleep, like whether you're going to sleep before or after you work. It's important for avoiding social eating and social drinking. Some people like to wake up and go immediately to work because it keeps them from drinking so much. It keeps them from drinking all that alcohol, all those calories by making it so on their day off, if they keep the schedule, no one else is out drinking, or it minimizes the number of hours that they're going to be out drinking. But you also have to watch out for social eating. If you wake up at 2 p.m., you don't want to eat breakfast and then go have a huge dinner with your friends because everybody's inviting you to dinner at 5 p.m. and you're going to go out to dinner at 6. So now you've eaten 2 meals, you've only been up 5 hours, and now you're going to work. So you're either going to starve all night or you're going to eat another meal and you're going to have overeaten for the day. And it's very easy to get into a bad habit of eating 4 or 5 meals a day and a dessert instead of eating 2 or 3 meals a day or 2 meals and a snack every day, which is a lot healthier and is more conducive to having a healthy lifestyle when you're on permanent midnights. But your days off are some of the hardest things to schedule. The one thing that's still super rough for me, even after 18 years of working midnights on and off and now being on them permanently, is dealing with days off. Because when you have to switch from one schedule to another, it means that if I need a weekend off, I don't just need to schedule Saturday, Sunday. I need to schedule Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So I can get off of my midnight schedule and half on to a day shift schedule. You know, maybe I'll go to bed a little early that night, go to bed at 2, wake up at 11, so that way the next day I can go to bed at 10 and wake up at, 6 or 7. And then I have to do the opposite thing on the other end. I have my weekend, whatever I'm doing, taking the kids camping or whatever over the weekend, and I have to have another day to try to stay up as late as possible, maybe stay up till 2, and, I'm waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to try to stay up till 2, and then wake up at 11 or 12, and then try to push it all the way through to 6-7 o'clock in the morning the next day. So not only is that a problem with, you basically feel like you're wasting 2 nights out of your life, 2 days out of your life to do it, but you also have to worry about with work being able to actually schedule that time off. And so one of the downsides of midnights is being able to have that type of flexible schedule where you can make it healthy and make it so that you're not doing those dangerous 24, 36 hours without sleeping. Because at 36 hours, it starts to really get dangerous. So those are my tips and tricks on how to love midnight shift. I really do love midnight shift, even though it has its downsides. Other shifts have their downsides too. I really, really hate working days. While I have everybody here, I'm going to be taking the Instagram comments and questions at the end after the credits here. We have a little Patreon announcement. We're going to be taking their comments and questions about what they have to say about midnight shifts. So stick around for all of that. Until next week, you guys be safe. Take care of each other. That's been your free field training for today. While you're here, check out one of the other videos that we made, or down here, subscribe so you can see more. Or you could check out Patreon, where you can see how you can get your name put on the videos, like all these fine folks over here. I'll see you guys next time.